سورة المباركة الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. هل أتى على الإنسان حين من الدهر لم يكن شيئا مذكورا إنا خلقنا الإنسان من نطفة أمشاج نبتليه فجعلناه سميعا بصيرا إنا هديناه السبيل إما شاكرا وإما كفورا إنا أعتدنا للكافرين سلاسل وأغلالا وسعيرا إن الأبرار يشربون من كأس كان مزاجها كافورا عينا يشرب بها عباد الله يفجرونها تفجيرا يوفون بالنذر ويخافون يوما كان شره مستطيرا ويطعمون الطعام على حبه مسكينا ويتيما وأسيرا إنما نطعمكم لوجه الله لا نريد منكم جزاء ولا شكورا إنا نخاف من ربنا يوما عبوسا قمطريرا فوقاهم الله شر ذلك اليوم ولقاهم نضرة وسرورا وجزاهم بما صبروا جنة وحريرا متكئين فيها على الأرائك لا يرون فيها شمسا ولا زمهريرا ودانية عليهم ظلالها وظللت قطوفها تذليلا ويطاف عليهم بآنية من فضة وأكواب كانت قوارير من فضة قدروها تقديرا ويسقون فيها كأسا كان مزاجها زنجبيلا عينا فيها تسمى سلسبيلا ويطوف عليهم ولدان مخلدون إذا رأيتم حسبتهم لؤلؤا منثورا وإذا رأيت ثم رأيت نعيما وملكا كبيرا عاليهم ثياب سندس خضر واستبرق وحلوا أساور من فضة وسقاهم ربهم شرابا طهورا إن هذا كان لكم جزاء وكان سعيكم مشكورا إنا نحن نزلنا عليك القرآن تنزيلا فاصبر لحكم ربك ولا تطع منهم آثما أو كفورا واذكر اسم ربك بكرة وأصيلا ومن الليل فاسجد له وسبحه ليلا طويلا إن هؤلاء يحبون العاجلة ويذرون وراءهم يوما ثقيلا نحن خلقناهم وشددنا أسرهم وإذا شئنا بدلنا أمثالهم تبديلا إن هذه تذكرة فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه سبيلا وما تشاءون إلا أن يشاء الله إن الله كان عليما حكيما يدخل من يشاء في رحمته والظالمين أعد لهم عذابا أليما صدق الله العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل فرجهم.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبقوتك التي قهرت بها كل شيء وخضع لها كل شيء وذل لها كل شيء وبجبروتك التي غلبت بها كل شيء وبعزتك التي لا يقوم لها شيء وبعظمتك التي ملأت كل شيء وبسلطانك الذي على كل شيء وبوجهك الباقي بعد فناء كل شيء وبأسمائك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء وبعلمك الذي أحاط بكل شيء وبنور وجهك الذي أضاء له كل شيء. يا نور يا قدوس يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحتك العصام. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل النقام. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تغير النعام. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحبس الدعاء. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل البلاء. اللهم اغفر لكل ذنب أذنبته وكل خطيئة أخطأتها. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك بذكرك وأستشفع بك إلى نفسك وأسألك بجودك أن تغنيني من قربك وأن توزئني شكرك وأن تلحمني ذكرك. اللهم إني أسألك سؤال خاضع متذلل خاشع أن تسامحني وترحمني وتجعلني بقسمك راضيا قانئا وفي جميع الأحوال متواضعا. اللهم وأسألك سؤال من اشتدت فاقته وأنزل بك عند الشدائد حاجته وعظم فيما عندك رغبته. اللهم عظم سلطانك وعلى مكانك وخفي مكرك وظهر أمرك وغلب قهرك وجرت قدرتك ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومتك. اللهم لا أجد لذنوب غافرا ولا لقبائه ساترا ولا لشيء من أمل القبيب الحسن مبدلا غيرك. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك وبحمدك ظلمت نفسي وتجرعت بجهلي وسكنت إلى قديم ذكرك لي ومنك علي. اللهم مولاي كم من قبيح سترته وكم من فاده من البلاء أقلته وكم من إثار وقيته وكم من مكروه دفعته وكم من ثناء جميع لست أهلا له نشرته. اللهم أضم بلائي وأفرط بي سوء حالي وقصرت بي أعمالي وقعدت بي أغلالي وحبسني عن نفع بعد أملي وقد أتني الدنيا بغرورها ونفسي بجنايتها ومثالي يا سيدي فأسألك بعزتك أن لا تحجب عنك دعائي سوء عملي وفعالي ولا تفضحني بخفي ما اطلعت عليه من سري ولا تؤاجلني بالعقوبة على ما عملته في خلواتي من سوء فعلي وإساءتي ودوام تفريطي وجهالتي وكثرة شهواتي وغفلتي. وكن اللهم بعزتك لي في كل الأحوال رؤوفا وعلي في جميع الأمور أطوفا. إلهي وربي من لغيرك أسأله كشف الضر والنظر في أمري. إلهي ومولاي أجريت علي حكما اتبعت فيه هوى نفسي ولم أحترس فيه من تزيين عدوي فغرني بما أهوى وأسأده على ذلك القضاء فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعض حدودك وخالفت بعض أوامرك فلك الحمد علي في جميع ذلك ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاؤك وألزمني حكمك وبلاؤك. وقد أتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري وإسرافي على نفسي معتذرا نادما منكثرا مستقيلا مستغفرا منيبا مقرا مذعنا معترفا لا أجد مفر مما كان مني ولا مفزعا أتوجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك عذري وإدخالك إياي في سعة رحمتك. اللهم فاقبل عذري وارحم شدة ضري وفكني من شد وثاقي. يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني ورقة جلدي ودقة عظمي يا من بدأ خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتغذيتي. هبني لابتداء كرمك وسالف برك بي يا إلهي وسيدي وربي. أتراك معذب بنارك بعد توحيدك وبعد ما انطوى عليه قلبي من معرفتك ولهج به لساني من ذكرك واعتقده ضميري من حبك وبعد صدق اعترافي ودعائي خاضعا لربوبيتك. هيهات أنت أكرم من تضي من ربيته أو تبعد من أضنيته أو تشرد من آويته أو تسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمته. وليت شعري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي أتسلط النار على وجوه خرت لعظمتك ساجدا وعلى ألسن نطقت بتوحيدك صادقا وبشكرك مادها وعلى قلوب اعترفت بإلهيتك محققة وعلى ضمائر حوت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعة وعلى جوارها سعت إلى أوطان تعبدك طائية وأشارت باستغفارك مذعنة. ما هكذا الظن بك ولا أخبرنا بفضلك عنك يا كريم. يا رب وأنت تعلم ضعفي عن قليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها ألا أن ذلك بلاء ومكروه قليل مقطوع يسير بقاؤه قصير مدته، فكيف احتمال لبلاء الآخرة وجليل وقوع المكاره فيها، وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مقامه ولا يخفف عن أهله، لأنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك، وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض. يا سيدي فكيف لي وعنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحقير المسكين المستكين. يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي، لأي الأمور إليك أشكو، ولما منها أضج وأبكي، لأليم العذاب وشدته أم لطول البلاء ومدته؟ فلئن سيرتني للعقوبات مع أعدائك وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائك وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك، فحبني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي وربي. صبرت على عذابك فكيف أصبر على فراقك، وحبني صبرت على حر نارك فكيف أصبر عن النظر إلى كرامتك. أم كيف أسكن في النار ورجاء أفك، فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم صادقا لئن تركتني ناتقا لأضجن إليك بين أهلها ضجيج الآملين، ولأصرخن إليك صراخ المستصرخين، ولأبكين عليك بكاء الفاقدين، ولا أنادينك أين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين، يا غاية آمال العارفين، يا غياث المستغيثين، يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين. ويا إله العالمين، أفتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفته، وذاق طعم عذابها بمعصيته، وحبس بين أطباقها بجرمه وجريرته، وهو يضج إليك زجيجا مؤمل لرحمتك، ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك، ويتوصل إليك بربوبيتك يا مولاي. فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمك؟ أم كيف تعلمه النار وهو يعمل فضلك ورحمتك؟ أم كيف يهرقه لهيبها وأنت تسمع صوته وترى مكانه؟ أم كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفه؟ أم كيف يتقلقل بين أطباقها وأنت تعلم صدقه؟ أم كيف تزجره زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا رباه؟ أم كيف يرجو فضلك في عتقه منها فتتركه فيها هيهات؟ ما ذلك الظن بك ولا المعروف من فضلك، ولا مشبه لما آملت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك، فباليقين أقطع لولا ما حكمت به من تعظيم جاهديك وقضيت به من إخلاد معانديك، لجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما، وما كانت لأحد فيها مقرا ولا مكاما، لكنك تقدست أسماؤك أقسمت أن تملأها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين، وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين، وأن تجل ثناؤك قلت مبتدئا وتطولت بالإنعام متكرما، أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون. إلهي وسيدي، فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي حتمتها وحكمتها وغلبت من عليه أجريتها أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته وكل ذنب أذنبته وكل قبيح أسررته وكل جهل أملته كتمته أو أعلنته أخفيته أو أظهرته وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جواره وكنت أنت الرقيب علي من ورائهم والشاهد لما خفي عنه وبرحمتك أخفيته وبفضلك سترته وأن توفر حظي من كل خير أنزلته أو إحسان فضلته أو بر نشرته أو رزق بسطته أو ذنب تغفره أو خطأ تستره يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك الرق يا من بيده ناسيتي يا عليما بضري ومسكنتي يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب أسألك بحقك وقدسك وعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقات من الليل والنهار بذكرك مأمورا وبخدمتك موصولا وأعمال عندك مقبولا حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها وردا واحدا وهالي في خدمتك سرمدا يا سيدي يا من عليه مؤولي يا من إليه شكوت أهوالي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب قو على خدمتك جواره واشدد على العظيمة جماني وهب لي الجد في خشيتك والدوام في اتصال بخدمتك حتى أسرح إليك في ميادين السابقين وأسرع إليك في البارزين واشتاك إلى قربك في المشتاقين وأدنو منك دنو المخلصين وأخافك مخافة الموقنين واجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فأرد ومن كادني فكيد واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نصيبا عندك وأقربهم منزلة من وأخصهم زلفة لديك فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك وجد لي بجودك واعطف علي بمجدك واحفظني برحمتك واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجا وقلبي بحبك مطيما ومن علي بحسن إجابتك وأقلني أسرتي واغفر زلتي فإنك قضيت على عبادك بإبادتك وأمرتهم بدعائك وضمنت لهم الإجابة فإليك يا ربي نسبت وجهي وإليك يا ربي مددت يدي فبعزتك استجب لي دعائي وبلغني منايا ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي يا سريع الرضا اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء فإنك فعال لما تشاء يا من اسمه دواء وذكره شفاء وطاعته غنى ارحم من رأس ماله الرجاء وسلاه البقاء يا سابغ النعام يا دافع النقام يا نور المستوحشين في الظلام يا عالما لا يعلم صل على محمد وآل محمد وافعل بما أنت أهله وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله وسلم تسليما كثيرا. إلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات صواب الفاتحة. لله الحمد. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن عليًا ولي الله. أشهد أن عليًا حجة الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. حي على خير العمل. حي على خير العمل. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا الله. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Sayyid Hasan Rizvi, respected elders, brothers, sisters in Iman, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Surah Fatiha is requested for all the names listed on the screen and Kul Arwahil Mu'mineen wal Mu'minat, Sawab al-Fatiha. Ayat Ma Yajibun is requested for all the names listed on the screen and whoever is in need of it here and elsewhere. Let us all recite it together. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Amman yujibul mustarra idha da'ahu wa yakshifu as-su'. Amman yujibul mustarra idha da'ahu wa yakshifu as-su'. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. Now let us invite Sayyid to come forward to recite tonight's madlis per Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad salawat.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين شفيع المذنبين رحمة للعالمين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد ثم الصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين المنتجبين المكرمين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفدا ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الأولين والآخرين إلى قيام يوم الدين أما بعد صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. Mu'mineen, mu'minat, brothers and sisters in Islam and Iman, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We'll move right into the continuation of our discussion, inshallah, because I didn't see any questions on Slido. So, on the topic of Mahdawiyah, we've moved on to our next subtopic, which is about how to build a wilaya-ready community. We said that an imam is able to come and express and announce their imamah and lead an ummah when they are ready to accept the concept of wilaya. If that ummah, if that community is ready, then the imam will come and say, okay, then I'll announce my imamah, I'll lead you. So our duty then, with this bigger question of how do we prepare for the imam, is okay, let's build that system, let's get our community ready for the imam, very simply put. We use the example of the wikala system that existed from the times of the 6th imam all the way to the 12th imam, where representatives went and they handled different spheres of life, the different dimensions of our lives. So legal issues, economic issues, religious beliefs and aqa'id. And that's the first part where we started last week. So, okay, if we need to build our community, get it ready for wilaya, so that the wali can come back, then we need to make sure our aqidah, our aqa'id, our systems of belief is straight. We saw that it was this lack of belief, these issues that people had throughout the times, from the time of the Prophet all the way till the time of the 12th Imam, that caused Muslims, and even Shia specifically, to deviate from the true path of Islam. Even the Shias themselves, as we saw the example with the 6th Imam, where they understood that, okay, he's the descendant of the Prophet, he's the chosen one, but the Abbasids came, they messed with that idea, and then unfortunately even some Shia supported the Abbasid regime and Khulafa because of this idea, a vague idea about beliefs in Shia identity. And that was enough to make people deviate and go towards the wrong path. So we want to make sure that we don't get caught up in that same idea. We want to make sure that we are individuals whose aqidah and belief system is solid, so that when the Imam does come, we don't get torn asunder and astray. The first concept we talked about was that according to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. According to one narration attributed to him, that before Al-Mahdi reappears, there will be individuals, according to some, at least 60, who will come and claim prophethood. So ulama have expanded this. They said it could literally mean 60 people, or it could mean just that there's going to be so much confusion that people will come out, they'll say that they're a prophet, they'll say that they're an imam, they'll say that they're a representative of the imam or a representative of God, and people will become confused. And there will be enough individuals that it's going to be an actual epidemic, a pandemic, a dilemma. So we said that, look, this issue didn't just happen during the time of the 12th Imam, or now, and we talked about how even in contemporary times, this is something that happened post-American invasion and occupation of Iraq. It happens till this day in Iran right now, people claiming that they're the Mahdi or that they're the representative. Even at the time of Rasulullah, there were people claiming that they were prophets. After his death, we gave the example, the specific example of Musaylima al-Kadhab, Musaylima the liar, right? As he was infamously known as. Somebody who, as we showed through his kind of short biography, he came to Islam with preconditions, right? As he went with his tribe towards the Prophet from Yamama, he said, you know what? If Muhammad makes me his successor, then I'll accept what he says. So we said that we have to be careful too, that when we come to Islam, we shouldn't come with preconceived notions. We shouldn't come with our own presumptions and demand that, okay, Islam better be like this, otherwise forget it. Because a lot of us right now, we are in that issue, that place where we start changing and adjusting Islam to suit our own needs. Whether it's extremely to the right, extremely to the left, conservative, traditional, progressive, liberal, whatever we believe is true, then we adjust Islam to that. Say, well, I'm going to make Islam my truth. When Islam is the thing that should be adjusting us to show what is actually true and false. And we said that after this, Musaylima returns back to his area, and then because he was basically, insulted, the Prophet said, I wouldn't even give you this tree branch, right? There's no conditions to Islam. Either you accept the truth or nothing. So he comes back, Musaylima returns, and then he says, you know what, I'm a prophet. He brings his own sort of Islam, and we mentioned some of the strange ideas that he had brought, which seem strange, but seem to be some of the things that pseudo-scholars are bringing nowadays too, right? We also said that one of the individuals, this woman that he married, Sajjah bint al-Harith, also claimed that she was a prophet too, right? So you have a husband and a wife, prophetic duo. So she also claims this. And there's somebody else at that same time who also claimed that he was a prophet. So out of the woodworks, these people are coming out claiming that they are prophets. And all of these individuals are coming and making their own Islam. And it seems very strange. The Prophet is right there. People have met the Prophet, yet still individuals are being misguided, being misled. He had upwards of 40,000 supporters. And Abu Bakr had to send armies to go and wipe them out. This was the status right after the Prophet. Now, our question might be, how is this possible? Why is it that even during the time and after the time of the Prophet, of course, us as Shias know that, with Saqifa and Ghadir and all these things, that Muslims didn't stick to their word. Some were legitimately confused and they were in doubt, and others just went back on their word. We know now that there's also this idea of towards the end of time, people are going to be confused. So one of the examples we brought are individuals being confused about false claimants to being a representative of God. But let's take it a step back. What is going on with all this confusion? What is with all this jahala or jahiliyyah? Or as we say in the riwayat, it says that this era, closer to the time of the 12th Imam, will be an era and time of shak and doubt. People will be confused. So I want to open that topic up for us. The first thing that I think is important for us to recognize, another narration which is attributed to, again, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. He's reported to have said, "Bu'ithtu bayna jahilatain." I have been sent between two jahiliyas, or two jihalats, two periods of ignorance, or two types of ignorance. And the first one we all know, right? He came during the time of Jahiliyyah and he destroyed that Arab ignorance that existed at that time. He says, لَآخِرُهُمَا شَرٌّ مِّنْ أَوْلَاهُمَا. The second Jahiliyyah that's going to come later on at the end of times, that's going to be worse and more evil than the first one, than the one that he had to deal with. This gives us a little bit of a clue. You know, a lot of times when we hear about, the age of Jahiliyyah, these people, these Arabs, ignorant people, they're burying daughters alive. They're treating people like property. X, Y, Z. We go through this whole laundry list of issues that we see and we kind of, laugh like, these people, they're so dumb, they're so stupid. How could they do something like this? We are so educated, we're so intelligent, and we're so smart. We've improved, we've got science and technology, and we use our brains and, all this stuff. If we were being honest, we actually compared both of the ages of ignorance, is there really any difference? Okay, so yes, they buried daughters alive back then. What are people doing right now? They are arguing for the sake that they have the right to destroy or kill an unborn child. Many individuals with pride are saying, yes, I don't want this child, I'm going to go abandon it. We hear constant stories of babies being abandoned. I mean, in the best case scenario, they're being abandoned in shelters or in hospitals or police stations. Or I think a few weeks ago I read that they dropped a baby off at a fire station. Well, that's the best case scenario. I'm sure some of you have seen the worst case scenarios. Some stories I've read, unfortunately, really bad. They've been left in bathrooms, right? One story was that a young girl gave birth at her senior prom and left the baby in the bathroom of the hotel where they were having their prom. Another story is a woman, or a young girl, is leaving a baby in a dumpster. These are normal stories that are happening every day. People are arguing for the right to be able to kill unborn children, right, through abortion. This is a norm now, and they're proud of this idea. Is there really any difference now? What are we really comparing here? Was death happening then, unjust killing, and the same thing's happening right now as well. Unjust killing is happening at this point for these infants and children. And the same sort of arguments, I don't want to compare everything because that's not the topic here, but that same sort of jahala exists. There's a lot of other comparisons that we could make, but that requires a bigger discussion. If you take a look at each and every issue that existed back then, of people, for example, another one would be people being very proud of their ancestry, right? Being very, very, very proud, and that being more important than anything else. Knowing genealogy, going far back, like, oh, this is my ancestors, look at how many children I have, look at my wealth and all this stuff. Is it any different right now? Even among us as Muslims, as Shias, aren't people competing with one another in terms of family and wealth and tribal identity and all these things? Have you really changed that much? If we were really being honest, there wouldn't be too much difference between the Arab Jahiliyyah of that time and the Jahiliyyah right now. Whether it's between Muslims or non-Muslims, that same sort of Jahiliyyah seems to exist. With all the progression we should have gone through, we should have been better off, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. If we're being honest, we would say we're worse off than they were. We could have given them excuses. Oh, they didn't know better, maybe. We should know better. We have Islam, yet we don't know any better. So it seems like the Jahiliyyah, according to the Prophet, it is worse right now. The ignorance, the moral degradation of society. People right now are arguing for the fact, again, I don't want to go into details, but you know very well the things that people are arguing for, and they're proud of certain identities, certain disgusting habits that people have, the things that are being taught in public schools right now. Society is crumbling. Civilization is crumbling, and people are proud of this fact. And we as Muslims need to make sure we're at a place where we understand what exactly is going on in the world and make sure we understand our position properly. And a lot of us are in doubt. We see all these issues going on, and I deal with adults and youth who are questioning, I don't understand Islam's position on this, right? On gender issues or youth issues or this or that. I'm confused. I get these questions constantly. Where is this shak? Where are these doubts coming from? Perhaps we might get some help from Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. In one of his narrations, he says, "Ashak thamaratul jahl." Doubt or shak is the fruit, the result or the consequence of jahl, of ignorance. When you don't know, then of course you're going to get stuck into jahl. You're going to start doubting things. Oh, I don't have enough information. I'm not sure. Something's unknown. Well, then you're going to be confused. You're going to be lost. You're going to be in doubt. We might ask this, okay, we're in the worst of times right now. Things are crazy. Muslim Shias are in doubt. The rest of the world, they're confused about a lot of things. People are arguing for the fact that 2 + 2 = 5. It's crazy right now. Why is all of this happening? Forget everybody else. Us as Shias, we have the Ahlul Bayt. Why? We have Thaqalain, Quran and Ahlul Bayt. Why are we in doubt? Why are we lost? Why are we confused? We should be okay, shouldn't we? Why do we hear all these riwayat and explanations and speeches by ulama that say this time will be the worst, people will be in doubt. When the Imam returns, then even some Muslims and Shias will be confused because it'll seem like the Imam's bringing a new religion. Why is that the case? Should we be hopeful or hopeless? What attitude should we take? So the first thing we want to try to answer then is, why is there this confusion? Why is there people in shak, even Muslims and so-called Shias? This we may be able to see directly from a few narrations. So let's first start with one. And this is a conversation that's taking place between Zurara, the famous companion, and the Imam that was, most famously, he was the one he was studying with, which is the 6th Imam, Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam. So, between the 6th Imam and Zurara, there's a lot of conversations, a lot of in-depth information. Even in this part of this hadith, we're taking just one part of it. I don't have time to bring the whole thing. It is interesting though. This is in Kitab al-Ghayba of Shaykh Tusi, rahmatullah alayh. So Zurara's asking about al-Qa'im. Tell me about the end of times. Tell me about being intidhar, right? Tell me about al-Muntadhir. Tell me about al-Muntadhar. How do I wait? How do I prepare? Who am I preparing for? All these details he's discussing with the 6th Imam. So the Imam little by little is mentioning this point, that point. This is the one point that's related to our topic that I want to mention. So he says, Huwa al-Muntadhar, right? This is the person who is waiting, right? The Imam. غَيْرَ أَنَّ اللَّهَ تَعَالَى يُحِبُّ أَن يُمْتَحَنُوا الشِّيَعَ. So Zurara is asking, why the waiting? Why is he waiting? What's going on? Why is there going to be a delay? Because he's asking about the future. Why is all this happening? It's not happening during his time. But he's asking about the future. Why is it that this is going to happen? And the Imam replies, because Allah loves to give an imtihan to his Shia. Allah loves to put his Shia through imtihan. Allah loves trying his Shia out. Now we hear this all the time, right? About bala and fitnas and all these things, that all these tests are good and makes us become better. We hear this all the time, right? Whether it's explained properly or not, that's a different discussion. So then we say, okay, well, but people are being confused right now. Right? People are getting anxious from this. How is that a good thing? And here, the last statement, the last part is where the Imam clarifies. فَعِنْدَ ذَلِكَ يَرْتَابُ الْمُبْتَلُونَ. And with this imtihan, this is where the mubtilun, the people who are trying to do ibtal, who are trying to falsify reality, who are going and spreading misinformation, who have a spiritual disease and are pushing falsehood to everybody else, these individuals, the verb used here is yurtab or yartab, which means what? They are stuck in rayb. Rayb, which sometimes we translate as doubt, right? ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابِ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. There is no doubt in that book. That same word, that same verb is what the Imam is using here. So he says the Shia, on one hand, they get an imtihan and Allah loves that. He wants them to be tried. He wants them to be tested. He wants them to be perfected. Get them ready for that akhir zaman, Get them ready to become the supporters of the Imam. But the mubtilun, the ones who are falsifying, the ones who are not in support of reality, the ones who have these spiritual diseases, the ones who are ruining society, these are the ones who are going to be in raib. These are the ones who are going to be completely confused and lost in society. So over here, perhaps this is where we might understand. There's a difference between a true mu'min and a Shia and everybody else. And here also we have another narration which may clarify it for us, which again comes from Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam. Remember, the sixth Imam is saying that the Shias are getting an imtihan and Allah loves that. So it's a helpful perfecting system for them. Everybody else, the mubtilun, the ones who are lost, they are going to be in raib. They're going to be, freaking out about what's going on. They're going to be lost. Imam Ali clarifies, Ma artab al-mukhlis, a mukhlis, a sincere individual, ma artab. He doesn't get stuck in doubt. He doesn't get confused. He doesn't get lost. He doesn't get anxious. Wala shakka muqin. Somebody who has yaqeen, there's no shak. They don't doubt things. They don't get lost. They don't get, they're not going to be in this sort of existential crisis that many of us may be in. So right over here, Imam is almost clarifying what the other Imam is saying. Those of us who have yaqeen, who have certainty in our belief system, in Islam, in Tawheed, in Imama, in Wilaya, in Nabuwa, in the Quran, in the teachings of the Ahlul Bayt, if you have this, if this is something that's defining your reality for you, it's telling you what is true and false, then you've got no problem. Somebody can come and say, oh, gender's fluid. You say, look, laysa dhakara kal untha. Quran says, man and woman are not the same. وَخَلَقَ الْأَزْوَاجِ. We've created you in pairs. خَلَقْنَاكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا. We've created you in pairs. So for anybody who has a Quranic paradigm, who knows the Ahlul Bayt and their teachings, they know that, look, we have men, we have women, there's two, it's binary, that's it. They won't get stuck in any sort of conversation or debates that other people are having. It's not going to be an issue for them because they have a base. If you don't have that base, you're not sincere, then you might get stuck in shak. You might get stuck in rape. And that's perhaps why you and I get lost sometimes. Is the Quran, are we Quranically oriented? Is that how we view reality? Do we search for the teachings for the Ahlul Bayt to answer our questions? Or are we off looking for somebody else? Looking at other ideologies, trying to get answers from somebody else? That's a question that you and I have to ask each other, right? We ask ourselves first, and then we see how are we moving forward as a community? Is our community centered around the Quran and the Ahlul Bayt? Do we have the Thaqalain telling us and guiding us on what to do? Or are we stuck using other individuals, other ideologies, other philosophies, other things which are leading everybody else into doubt? It's the first world, the ones with the highest GDP growth, who have the most amount of confusion. They're the ones who are popping pills constantly because they have all that stress, all that anxiety. Mental health issues are in the first world, not the third world. Where they have deen and religion, look at the statistics. When they don't have high GDP growth, finances are not doing so great, economic issues, but they have religion, then you see that mental health issues, not so big, not much of an issue. In places like this, in the West, North America, Europe, you see high suicide rates, mental health issues, and actually they say that for women it's higher than anybody else. Now why that's the case, that's a separate discussion. But it's where people are apparently making all this money, have all the science and technology and rationality, all this. That's where everybody seems to have all these crises. Existentially, they're lost. They don't have an identity. With all their rationality and technology, they can't figure it out. But when people have metaphysics, when they have Islam, when they have Christianity, Judaism, when they have a solid objective foundation, when they're connected to God, they see that, okay, I'm good to go. And we can see that as a normal example in the community. We see that people who, right now, because of the uncertainty of what's going on right now in the markets and economics and all this, people who, might have issues with their finances, you see that, I don't know what's going on. They're losing money, they're gaining money, it's uncertain for them. They don't know their job situation, their income situation. For somebody you see that that we all know, there's many individuals like this in the community who have a strong sense of iman and tawakkul. They say, look, Allah's in charge of it. Why am I going to freak out? Allah's the one who provides my rizq. If He wants to take a little away, that's His choice. It's not mine to begin with. If He wants to increase it, that's fine. It makes no difference to me. He's the one who's in charge. He gives me exactly what I need. Why am I going to, freak out? Why am I going to get stressed out? I'm not the one behind the driver's seat. I'm not the one behind the steering wheel. He is. I'm sitting there. I'm along for the ride. And when somebody, you see them, they have that, you see them, they never get stressed out. They never get angry. They never get depressed. When they get sick, oh, whatever, Allah gave it to me. What can I do? That's the way it's supposed to be. Even if it's a fatal illness, oh, khair, that's the way it is. Nothing messes with them. Nothing, perturbs them or disturbs them. But for many of us, a little money issue, a little health issue, family issues, community issues, we start, we don't know what's going on. We get lost and we get confused. We start arguing with people. We're just completely out there. So that could tell us that maybe our fundamentals are weak. I want to spend, we may run out of time here, so maybe I have to lead this. There's a fine point here too, though. Because in some of these riwayat, we're seeing the word shak being used, which we translate as doubt, right? Shak. And we also see the word raib, which we see, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابِ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. Like there's no doubt in it. Now many of you, I think I've said it more than enough times, no two words in Arabic have the same meaning. But we hear the translation of raib and shak as doubt. Are they both doubt? Do they both mean the same thing? Even in this hadith, the Imam is saying that a mukhlis won't get stuck in raib, and a muqin, somebody with yaqeen, doesn't get stuck in shak. Is there a difference between shak and raib? Are they the same thing or not? There is one opinion that they are synonymous and that there's no difference. But many ulama say no. There's a fine difference, and if we look, I'll share this ayah of Quran, and all of you, you can go home, you can reflect on it yourselves, and then inshallah we'll continue this in our next session. So this is from Surah As-Saba, which is Surah number 34, ayah 54. And I don't have a screen to look at. I think it's going to come up in a second. But anyway, أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Oh, I just lost my notes. One sec. Where'd they go? وحيل بينهم وبين ما يشتهون كما فعل بأشياعهم من قبل إنهم كانوا في شك مريب. So you see the two words we're talking about at the end. Shak, doubt, and then murib is a person who's in raib. So that you can see the ra, ya, and the ba right there. So shak and murib are two separate words that are being used. Over here, let's see, what's the translation that's coming out for this? Disquieting doubt. Now, what that means, we're going to have to open up a little bit. So what I want to start with next week is go through the meaning of shak, the meaning of raib, see how it's been mentioned in various riwayat, in this ayah of Quran, and maybe some other places if we have time. We're going to go through that and maybe make an analogy to give us some pointers to think about how do we end up making sure we don't get stuck in shak? How do we make sure we don't get stuck in raib? How do we make sure that we are the mukhlisin, as the Imam is encouraging us to do? How do we become the muqinin, those who have yaqeen? And how do we become the true Shia who see everything that's going on right now as an imtihan and not something that's going to toss us into an existential crisis? So this will be a discussion that will continue on in our future sessions, inshallah ta'ala. If you can recite a salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So we'll end for tonight. We'll open up, I don't think there's any questions on, no questions on Slido, so we'll jump right to the quiz. So if you can start logging in, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum to Taht al-Hanak. Should be with a K, Hanak, not a Hanak, but it's okay, right? Taht al-Hanak is this, by the way, for those who don't know, right? Because I don't have to give the full thing, right? Okay, so while people are logging in, so I'll just mention that we have a few sessions that are coming up, right? It's going to be a very, very busy weekend. I don't think there's anything tomorrow night, if I'm not mistaken. So nothing tomorrow night. Oh, yeah, nothing tomorrow. So it's a day off. Saturday, there's multiple sessions, the usual, sessions, the classes that we have in the afternoon for those who participate. Then from 5 to 6, there's the HIC lifestyle ongoing session. So finally, after being pressured for a while, I'll be discussing I think the topic, what was the title, right? Spiritual nutrition starts in the kitchen. So I'll be introducing the idea of keto, but we'll be talking about how spirituality is related to our physical nutrition. That we can't have an unhealthy diet and expect the peak of spirituality. So I'll mention some points and give some typical tips on how maybe individuals, you don't have to go to an extreme of keto maybe, but maybe some simple points that we can keep in mind to live healthier lifestyles, because let's face it, this community is pretty bad, right? We're pretty unhealthy over here. I don't want to say we, but you guys are pretty unhealthy, right? I don't know why that got a salawat. Very strange. So we'll talk a little bit about that, inshallah. And I'll give practical, simple ideas, right? You want to keep your sweets and your other stuff and oily stuff? I'll give you some tips for that, inshallah. In addition, there's a session at night, which is hosted by CBE. And it'll be, I think it's going to start, 8:15, right? So a little bit before Maghrib. So come to show up then, to speak. And basically, it's going to be called a community brainstorming session, like a town hall meeting. We want a meeting of the minds. We want everybody, all demographics, all age groups to come together. We're going to sit. We're going to start opening up the floor to see what your issues are, what things should we be implementing in the community, right? Because now we've been in person for a while. People now are comfortable coming inside. We're speaking with one another. So we want to move, it's been over a year that we've been together. We want to move to the next phase of our community building and development. So we want to hear from what everybody has to say. Now, I hear people in private coming to me or in email or, through other individuals, they come and relay that message. But we want to be able to sit down in the same room, again, like a town hall meeting sort of, discuss these ideas, go back and forth, and try to come up with plans if necessary, right, for various demographics. But ideally, we want every single person present to be able to hear different ways that we can try to improve our community together. So I'm hoping as many of you as you can please show up to that. And of course, as many of you know, we're continuing with our Sunday Fajr breakfast program, which is open to everybody, all ages, both genders, male and female, both binaries. So our topic is self-building. We're going through Ayatollah Amini's book, right, on self-building. So I think this is our maybe third or fourth session. So for those who are interested in that discussion, then, you can come to that, inshallah, for Sunday. Okay, so salam alaikum to everybody. Abande Khuda 2, Muzammil Jan Muhammad Plato, SH Abu with 3 U's, Qambar Sakina, Mujahid Jan Muhammad, the Kenyan Queen or whoever KQ is, we still haven't figured out. FM, I don't even know who that's going to be. Ali, Yusuf Ali, the Dujis, Anonymous. I looked that up, but I'm not going to pronounce it again. Specialist, subscribe to Zain K. No thanks. Muhammad Salah. Okay, let's just jump to the quiz, inshallah. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, good luck. The Wakala system started with which Imam? 5th, 6th, 8th, or 12th? So this we've gone over a number of times now. So I'm hoping 100% should come in here. We mentioned this point many weeks ago. 88, come on. It started with the 6th Imam. The 6th Imam. All right, 88 is okay. Could have been 90, but okay, no problem. Started with the 6th Imam. That's the Wakala system. Okay, next question. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that he was sent between what? 2 worlds, ad-dunya wal-akhirah, 2 hearts, the inner and outer heart, 2, jahilatain, the ages of ignorance, or all of the above. So this was pretty much the main opening hadith for tonight, right? Hasan, okay. 63%. All of the above was a trick, right? It sounded like that could have been the case, but no. The hadith that we mentioned was about that he says that he's been sent between 2 jahilatain, right? Okay, Imam Ali alayhi salam is reported to have said that, what is the fruit of jahl, of ignorance? Is it shar, evil, hellfire, I didn't write that Arabic, but jahannam, or nar, doubt, shak, or all of the above? So, the last one wasn't all of the above, maybe this one's in all of the above, or maybe I'm tricking you again. And some of you complain that, these things are too hard. Like, I literally said it like 5 minutes ago. How much easier do you want it? 78%. Oh man, okay. I'm just gonna have to assume that there's people who are joining in who don't listen at all and they're just guessing everything. Let's just do that, right? Or their benefit of the doubt. Maybe their fingers are slipping. I don't know. Yeah, the answer is shak, doubt, right? Shak is the thamaratul jahl, the fruit of ignorance. Last one. Random question. What are the names of Batman's parents? Joey and Jackie, Jason and Sarah, Todd and Mira, or Thomas and Martha. So, DC fans, unite. Now, if you're a comic book fan, this should be easy. All right, 76%. It's not bad. Jason, Sarah, no. Thomas and Martha. Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne, right? Which apparently is the same name as, Martha is the same thing as Superman's mom's name, which apparently was, well, I don't want to get into that because that was a terrible movie and a terrible meme that's out there, right? Yeah, so you're laughing, you know. What a terrible plot. Anyway, okay, let's see who won tonight. Oh, good job. Oh, wow, a good amount of you got all 4 right. But Plato, very good. It's always the Greek philosophers who are on top, it seems, right? So congratulations to Plato. Muzammil in 2nd place, Diuji's in 3rd, Band Khuda 2 and 4th, and Specialists in 5th place. So congratulations to all of you. Hopefully we see most of you, if not all of you, in the sessions we're having this weekend. The lifestyle session between 5 and 6 p.m. on Saturday. The brainstorming session, community brainstorming building session sponsored by CBE, Saturday night at 8:15, and then Sunday Fajr as well, which we start at 5:45. So we hope to see hopefully all of you at some of these sessions, inshallah. And then of course we have the wilada of our 8th Imam, Imam Ali ibn Musa al-Rida alayhi salatu wasalam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil fatrum, coming up on Monday night, and we're going to try to tie our topic with his wilada as well. So, we'll see you all then. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala Ahl Bayt al-Tayyibin al-Tahirin. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليك يا وارث آدم صفوة الله. السلام عليك يا وارث نوح نبي الله. السلام عليك يا وارث إبراهيم خليل الله. السلام عليك يا وارث موسى كليم الله. السلام عليك يا وارث عيسى روح الله. السلام عليك يا وارث محمد حبيب الله. السلام عليك يا وارث أمير المؤمنين ولي الله. السلام عليك يا ابن محمد المصطفى. السلام عليك يا ابن علي المرتضى. السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا ابن خديجة الكبرى. السلام عليك يا صار الله وابن ثاره والوتر الموتور. أشهد أنك قد أقمت الصلاة وأعطيت الزكاة وأمرت بالمعروف ونهيت عن المنكر وأطعت الله ورسوله حتى أتاك اليقين. فلعن الله أمة قتلتك ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك ولعن الله أمة سميت بذلك فرضيت به. يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله أشهد أن كنت نورا في الأسلاب الشامخة والأرحام المتحرة. لم تنجسك الجاهلية بأنجاسها ولم تلبسك من مدهمات ثيابها. وأشهد أنك من دعائم الدين وأركان المؤمنين. وأشهد أن الإمام البر التقي الرضي الزكي الهادي المهدي. وأشهد أن الأئمة من ولد كلمة التقوى وعلام الهدى والأروة الوثقى والحجة على أهل الدنيا. وشهد الله ملائكته وأنبياءه ورسله عني بكم مؤمن وبيا بكم مؤكن بشراء ديني وخواتيم عملي وكلبي لكلبكم سل وأمري لأمركم متبه. صلوات الله عليكم وعلى أرواحكم وعلى أجسادكم وعلى أجسامكم وعلى شاهدكم وعلى غائبكم وعلى ظاهركم وعلى باطنكم. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا ابن نبي الله. السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا ابن الحسين الشهيد. السلام عليك أيها الشهيد وابن الشهيد. السلام عليك أيها المظلوم وابن المظلوم. لعن الله أمة قتلتك، ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك، ولعن الله أمة سميت بذلك فرضيت به. السلام عليكم يا أولياء الله وأحباء. السلام عليكم يا أصفياء الله ووداءه. السلام عليكم يا أنصار دين الله. السلام عليكم يا أنصار رسول الله. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك. السلام عليكم يا أنصار فاطمة الزهراء سيدة النساء العالمين. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي محمد الحسن بن علي الولي الزكي الناصر. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي عبد الله بأبي أنتم وأمي تبتم، وتابت الأرض التي فيها دفنتم، وفزتم فوزا عظيما، فيا ليتني كنت معكم فأفوز معكم. السلام عليك يا أبا الفضل عباس بن أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا ابن السيد الوسيين. السلام عليك يا ابن أول الكوم الإسلام وأقدمهم إيمانا وأقومهم بدين الله وأحوتهم على الإسلام. أشهد لقد نصحت لله ولرسوله ولأخيك فنعم الأخ المواسي. فلعن الله أمة قتلتك، ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك، ولعن الله أمة استحلت منك المهارم وانتهكت حرمة الإسلام. فنعم الصابر المجاهد المحامي الناصر، ولقد الدافع عن أخي المجيب إلى طاعة الرب الراغب فيما زهد فيه غير من الثواب الجزيل والثناء الجميل. وألحقك الله بدرجة آبائك في جنات النعيم. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء سلطان أبا الحسن مولانا علي بن موسى الرضا. كن شفينا وشفيع والدينا في يوم الجزاء ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا صاحب الزمان سيدي الأمان الأمان الأمان. السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن. السلام عليك يا كعبة الإيمان. السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان. أجل الله لك ما وعدك من النصر وظهور الأمن جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته مع الصلوات.